Put a star next to that one. An outstanding play by DJ LeMahieu.
Not in time, and Reyes has his 500th career stolen base. Luis Guillorme ties the game with a pinch hit home run. Oh, wow!
It's Labor Day, and like a good Labor Taurus is there.
On third, Hayes has moved. Hayes makes the catch. Yankees win. Oh, Yankees win. The New York Yankees have won the 1996 World Series.
And welcome back to the Battle in New York. No Rich still, but we have our friend Austin from last week filling in. We got Caroline, Matt, and your host, Joey. So as I mentioned, we have Austin filling in again for Rich. Rich is on the retroactive 15-day IL as of last week. But there was something I didn't get to talk about last week because I was very excited. We had a lot to talk about. We have teamed up officially with Yankees Files. We had a intro video for that earlier, but I wanted to make it public on the pod. And we will be doing Crosstown Sports Network. So that will be the home of the Battle in New York, Yankees Files, and something pretty electric that I'm excited to share about later. But let's get rolling. So first topic, proper fan etiquette. So I don't know if you guys have been on the road. I was on the road a lot last year. I visited 9 stadiums. So etiquette is something that I kind of paid attention to. And personally for me, when I walk into someone else's stadium, I treat it as if I'm in someone else's house, where I clap for my team. I don't start anything. And that's pretty much it. But what do you guys think proper fan etiquette is? And is there a line to cross? And if so, where is that line? Loaded question, but Austin, lead us off.
All right. I haven't been to too many other stadiums. I mean, I guess the one that I've been to the most, it's probably the stadium that I've been to more than any other one, would be Yankee Stadium. But yeah, I kind of agree with you. I treat it with respect. Like I definitely wouldn't be like belligerent or anything like that. Yeah, you are in someone else's house, and I mean, if the Yankees are playing another team that like I maybe don't care for, I think it's fair to like cheer for them or something like that. If they're not playing your team, and just like have a good time and kind of, stay within yourself,
For sure. Yeah, no, Kara, you joined me actually on some of the stadiums I went to last year, and I think you have a pretty good story about someone not being respectful.
Oh, but it was my own fan base.
Oh no.
Is that what you were talking about?
I mean, yeah.
So in general, I go to Yankee Stadium quite often these past 2 years, which is great, fantastic. I love it. I personally am not a person who's going to wear my gear to Yankee Stadium. I'm not wearing a Mets hat to Yankee Stadium, but I'm also not wearing Yankee gear either because my dad would disown me. But I do wear Yankee colors or a Subway Series shirt. I do try and respect Yankee Stadium and their fans. I think when things go too far is when you are belligerent and trying to upset the people who go to that stadium all the time. When you try and upset the home fans just to upset them because you want to go home and have a great story. I will say when I went to Citizens Bank as a Mets fan, Phillies playing the Mets, everybody was very nice to me. I was actually scared, and I was wearing my Luis Guillorme jersey. I was really ready for some grandma to yell at me and kick me. Nobody did that. But I did have a Mets fan try and shame Luis Guillorme, and then Luis Guillorme hit a triple, and I had to yell at him for being mean to him. And Joe had to be the voice of reason there. So I've never had an issue with a rival fan, but I have had an issue with Mets fans. Just be respectful.
Yeah.
I think it's funny that you mentioned that it was a grandma that you thought was going to kick you, like out of anybody, little little Susie's grandmother, who's 89 and it has a walker, she's gonna
You know what?
get you.
I feel like a lot of young fans of those like hot-headed teams, Yankee fans, Phillies fans, I feel like they've cooled off. The young fans are pretty cool. They try and keep a level head. But those old heads, they're scary. They're very scary people, and I would not want to be hit by a Phillies fan and her cane. And I see it happening.
It seems like there's some past trauma there. I'm not going to touch on that, but personally, I love to travel to new ballparks. It's something that I now am doing more than I ever had in the past, and something that I always try to be aware of. A lot of the time when I go to these games, the Yankees are not in town. I just try to plan it on a weekend that I can go to. And I am always again, you treat it like it's, you're visiting someone else's house, because it's true, you are. And, I know that for a lot of people, going to a game is something very special to them, and their team is very special to them. And I don't want to be the person that ruins that experience, right? And, even though sometimes, you see these rowdy fans, we got big rivalries, that sort of thing. It is very, very important to, and anywhere I go, I try to be kind, but I love to be intuitive, asking a lot of questions and, trying to find the hot spots, what are the places that people love to eat, and, what are the things that fans do on a typical day-to-day basis at the games, because that's how you're going to get the most feel for the ballpark, and just really kind of embrace being there in the moment.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's a great point. When I visited, like I said, I visited 9 stadiums last year. Electric. Maybe I'll talk about that when there's not a whole lot to talk about, but I digress. It was really interesting to just kind of find local bars and stuff like that and just see what the locals did. Out in LA, it was Dodger Stadium. Excuse me. At Dodger Stadium, there's a bar a few blocks away called the Shortstop, and that's where everybody went. Yankee Stadium, obviously, you got Billy's stands, dugout, Yankee Twin, which I learned about, which we'll talk about a little later on another topic. But no, it's just cool to see how kind of the locals do it. But speaking of locals, the Mets and Phillies will be playing not local out in London. That kind of got me thinking, where is one country that you'd like to go see an MLB series, or that you would like to see an MLB series played at?
I feel like everybody has a better answer than me, so I'm just going to say Australia because I want to go there.
Hey, but they're coming up in baseball, though. I mean, they do love the sport there. It's not a bad idea. Just because the quality of their professional league might not be top notch to this point, I do think. I mean, and I don't want to throw any shade at the Perth Heat, who constantly are rolling over there. And Greg Bird, shout out Greg Bird, he is absolutely raking in Australia. But that's not a bad option at all. I'd say it's good to grow the game for sure.
Australia is dope. Definitely on the list. But you need a passport to do that, Kara. Anyway.
I'll get one eventually.
Austin, I saw yours. Yours was I actually agree with yours, but I'll let you expand on that.
Yeah, so I said I think that there should be like many series in Puerto Rico every year. I mean, obviously, like Puerto Rico is already like a very large baseball hub. There's a lot of players from Puerto Rico. It does not require a passport. You can just go there. And they have like a stadium ready. I mean, it's a very small ballpark. Balls tend to fly out. But I mean, whenever teams have like gone there, it really pops off. And I think that if you have, especially the New York teams, like the New York teams have a lot of Puerto Rican baseball players, dating back, my entire life. Basically, the Yankees had Bernie Williams. They had Posada, who's not actually Puerto Rican, but represents Puerto Rico because I think he was raised there. And I mean, the Mets, they had Beltran. The Yankees also had Beltran at a later time. And they currently have Lindor and Edwin Diaz and Tomas Nido. But yeah, I mean, I think that you have to, in order to continue to grow the game, just like play the games where it's like super popular as well. So have a couple series in Puerto Rico. Maybe the Yankees and the Mets could play in Puerto Rico. I mean, I feel like that would really pop off. But yeah, that's the end of my spiel.
That would definitely be electric. No, that place would. It's always cool when like Lindor hits a home run and you see like Puerto Rican flags. People like lose their shit. It's so sick. I'm a big fan. But speaking of losing their shit, Matt, you picked a place where people really like to lose their shit over baseball. So
I think I was kind of surprised that, I was a little late to the party in terms of putting my answer in. And I was kind of surprised because I thought it was an obvious choice. But, going to Tokyo, I feel like if you put, really any team, I don't want to say like one team or another, but, if you put like a marquee team, if it was like a Yankees, Yankees Red Sox is always gonna draw, but really, any team in the Tokyo Dome, like out of all, like, oh my gosh, Japan would go crazy. Like they love baseball over there. It's one of it is the marquee sport in Japan, and it shows, obviously there's a lot of players coming over here. Maybe you pick a team like the Dodgers because they have Shohei Yamamoto. You get some of those big Japanese players to go back over there, be ambassadors. It'd be something that's really good. But I think it's kind of silly that Major League Baseball doesn't get over there more than it does because, again, it is like a baseball hub, and it's somewhere that truly, truly embraces the game. It like the rest of the world embraces soccer.
no, the world loves. I've learned that the world loves soccer and the world loves cricket. And I don't know if our listeners or the team here caught that tweet of that British guy talking about how Americans' minds would explode if they watched cricket. But the U.S. won today, and they upset, I believe it was Pakistan, who's like the best team in the world.
I have one thing to say about that.
Yeah, go ahead.
USA, USA, USA.
Love it. Speaking of electric, Matt, I know you didn't say it, and we'll edit it, and it still won't come out that way. But my choice, well, did you say electric?
Joe, your choice. Go for it.
No. I picked Cuba. And the reason I picked Cuba is because the country goes crazy every time they come. I believe they've played twice there in the last 10 years, and it was a big deal every time. I remember President Obama showed up to one of them. It's just a really cool event, and I personally really want to go to Cuba. So I feel like that would be a double whammy, and I'd go see any team playing Cuba. I'd watch Pirates, Blue Jays. Like I wouldn't even care.
Well, I mean, the Oakland A's want to play with some games outside of Las Vegas when their stadium's built, so maybe that's a place they can go.
Yeah, no, they can. They're in Sacramento, soon to be Sacramento A's.
Well, but it did come out that they want to have a neutral site for up to 7 games once their Vegas stadium is built. What a joke of a franchise!
What are they doing?
I can't. So now we're going to do recaps of the last 7 games. And the Mets, I will read our predictions off from last week to remind everybody. Austin boldly and correctly picked 5-2. Our friend Will from Yankees Files picked 3-4. Kara said 1-5. Matt said 1-5. And I said 3-3 because I can't be too negative about this Mets team right now. But no, 5-2. They've been on a heater. I think I'm going to credit Austin for that, actually. But guys, Did any of these games stick out to you?
Ugh. I think the last game was super important. Severino went like really deep into the game. The Mets finally had like the game that I had hoped that they've had. They haven't, feels like they haven't had it all season. Or it was just like a win. Like they just won the game. There was no dramatics in like the ninth inning. The bullpen didn't explode. Uh, like the defense was fine. The offense was great. Obviously, the pitching was great. They just won the game, and that's very nice to see considering how bad they've been playing. So that's the game that stuck out to me.
No, it's so nice to not have stressful wins. Matt and I can relate. There's been a lot of stress-free wins, but I've been following the Mets more, and I've been getting nervous. So I can't imagine how it felt to just have a nice beginning to end win.
Yeah.
A game that actually stuck out for me was one of the losses, and it was Saturday's game, the Darryl Strawberry game. It's not because I was there, but I felt like that rally at the end of the game, I think that was a turning point. A lot of the things that we want to see from them, they were showing. They showed their fight that they had kind of lost last year. It really felt like they were turning it around and they wanted to be there. A little late, showing up quite late to the game. But I mean, Joe and I left, and I had a blast that ninth inning. We sat near some really great baseball fans that just, we had a blast with them. It was hot, it was disgusting, but we had fun in that last inning because they had life in them again. And I really think that kind of transferred over to that Washington series, where I don't think that second game should never have been a nail biter, but it was, and they got out of it. I really hope that the June swoon has moved to May, and then next year it can move to April, and then we never have one again. But that just might be wishful. Yeah, it's just like a little bit earlier and earlier until I don't exist anymore.
Spring training.
Yeah. So I'm hoping that these are signs for better times ahead because, it felt nice to enjoy baseball.
So, two things that I noticed. One, Caroline, have you seen a winning Mets game this year?
I have seen two.
Okay, I'm just checking because if not, then I was going to say maybe you should stay home. But that's good. That's good. All right, so that check that off my list.
But to be fair, Matt, it was really hard for the past 2 months to see a winning Mets game home
period
or there. Yeah. So I mean, it was stacked against me.
So basically, you might be a good luck charm. Who knows? I'm not going to say you're not because we don't really know what that is yet. But it was great to see the Mets offense actually perform like a capable MLB offense. And, it's very easy to win games if you score a lot of runs. And there was a lot of traffic on base for the Mets, a lot of guys performing very, very well. And shout out to Mark Vientos because, I mean, what more could a Mets fan have asked for out of this guy? Like, he's done everything and more for the team, and especially considering he could have been very bitter about how things had played out, signing JD Martinez, taking his spot. He went to AAA, and this guy's like the happiest camper going. Like, it seems like there was no carryover of ill will and, towards teammates or, the organization. This guy's just happy to play baseball right now, and it shows. I mean, he's always been someone that I feel like Mets fans and baseball fans that really know the game, he can hit. It's just a matter of when it was all going to click for him, and it's kind of cool to see that it is now. And I think his emergence as a very pure hitter has done wonders for that whole lineup.
No, absolutely. It's just another power bat that they can kind of bring up between Pete, JD, and him. But I will say, I had a lot of fun on Saturday going to the Strawberry game. Caroline said we sat next to some really knowledgeable fans. Shout out Ty from Albany, who sat next to us. He was the man. It was a pleasure. Hope you get those 2 stadiums that you're missing. And Hell yeah, brother. Rock on. But I had a lot of fun in the ninth inning. And I looked at Caroline. Pete Alonso was up, and I was like, this Pete Alonso home run's going to hit like crack. And the next pitch, ball cracks right off the bat, right over the wall. And that was, I mean, you wouldn't have known they were down 5 runs just by how much fun we were having. Like it was nice. It's nice to see the Mets doing better. I've watched them a lot more since we started doing this. But no, that 10-5 game was sick, even though they lost. And what was the name of the kid that was just awful? The pitcher?
The pitcher that was awful? Walker. Josh Walker.
Yeah, you suck.
The thing is, though, they kept him in 3 innings. They were punting that game, and they still showed up. They knew it was a punt. They took Lindor out, I think in the 7th, maybe 8th. They were punting that game completely, and they showed up during the punt. I think that might be why part of that was fun. Because I looked at Joe, and I was like, it's done. And then they showed up.
I just thought, well, I thought of this before we got on, and I wanted to bring it up and see what people had to think about it. But right now in baseball, so like the Mets were not playing well up until, the past series and a half have gone well for them. And there are 3.5 games out of the third wild card. And this seems to be a trend not only in the NL, but the AL as well in terms of, and I'm not calling the Mets mediocre. They had a very, very bad stretch, but there's a lot of mediocre teams still kind of hanging around. There's not a whole lot of teams that you look at and you're like, woof, they're already way out of this thing. And I find that very, very interesting. Do you think the level of competition has gone up in the league, or do you just think that it's very top heavy right now? Because, I mean, obviously the Yankees are playing very well, the Phillies, the Dodgers, but really, other than that, most teams have very similar records or are hovering right above or right under 500.
I think that, at least in the fan perspective, I think there's often this conversation about if you're just good enough, you can get that third wild card spot, and those teams are the ones that are going farther than the division winners. Phillies, right? What was that, 22? I think that might be a part of it. I know that a lot of teams get gassed and then they don't perform as well. You could look to the Braves, and that might be a reason why they don't get that far. I think that for the NL, it's just bad baseball in general. Teams aren't doing well in the NL at all. I think, how many teams are over 500? 4?
Only a few, yeah. And there's some who are 1 or 2 games off. Yeah, there's two truly awful NL teams, the Rockies and the Marlins. The Marlins are, they essentially, punted the season a couple weeks ago. Their GM just said we're kind of done. They traded Arise to the Padres. Yeah, there we go. The spelling of his name for a second eluded me. Yeah. So they traded him. They're probably going to trade a couple other guys. They're probably going to trade Chisholm. There's not much there. The Rockies are just bad every year now. So, I mean, it is what it is. And then everybody else, it seems like they're super streaky. A couple weeks ago, the Reds looked really good. Ellie De La Cruz looked really good. He himself is an incredibly streaky player. He's probably going to be like that for a long time. He strikes out a lot. He can also hit a ball 120 miles an hour over the fence. He's really fast, but, and the rest of their team seems like odds and ends. They have some good young players. Their pitching is all right, I guess. So, I mean, there's a lot of the Mets are obviously very much like that. Super streaky. I mean, that they had that terrible stretch after a really good stretch, and now it seems like they might be going back to playing, better, and hopefully, if they stay around 500, that'd be great.
No, that'd be That'd be awesome. I think you're right. I think there's a lot of streaky teams along with a lot of streaky players.
Yeah.
And the 4 NL teams that are over 500 right now are the Braves, the Phillies, the Brewers, and the Dodgers, I believe. I could be wrong, but that's the last time I read that yesterday. So as long as nothing's changed too much, I think that's correct.
It is interesting. Well, I sit here and I look at a team like the Minnesota Twins, who the Yankees are playing currently, and I'm like, man, this is a division favorite for the Central. That's pretty pathetic.
Yeah, the AL Central should just be abolished.
Yeah,
But
your relegation rule from last week.
that would be the whole division. Just
The White Sox are 6 games worse than the next worst team, which would be the Rockies. The White Sox have 15 wins.
that's awful.
Yeah.
Austin, we have to remember that could be us.
Yes, it could be.
Oh, it could always be worse.
Yes. Jeez.
Love
Imagine me
the
as that team, right? Yeah.
Well, we're going to take this positivity and move it over to the New York Yankees, who I'll do the predictions first. Last week, Austin predicted 5-1 record. Will predicted a 4-2 record. Caroline predicted a 5-1 record. Matt predicted a 4-2 record, and I predicted 5-1. So they played 3 games in San Francisco, and they're playing their final game against the Minnesota Twins out of a 3-game set right now. So the Yankees they're on another heater. There's no stopping them. The only game that had me worried personally was the game Sunday, where they were down in the 9th. But then, what was it? Volpe hits a trip? No. Was it Volpe? Volpe, Matt, you know what? Can you step in?
Volpe hit a triple. That's correct. And then Juan Soto hit the tank shot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he hit the tank shot to put him up after they were talking about how, all he needs to do is hit a single or put the ball in play. No, he rocketed it. That was the only game I was nervous about too, because it was a game that even though the Yankees kept coming back in, they kept giving up the lead right after. So I was like,
No, I was
the
watching
whole
that
game.
Matt.
It just seemed
That
like
was
it
a
was going to be
roller
one of those games.
It's like, all right, we're going to drop this one. And I got annoyed, but shout out to Trevi, top of the 9th, running that out, because that man is as fast as I am, and that's not very fast. But I was amazed that he legged that out. But when Juan Soto was up, I was like, is this guy going to do it again? Is he really going to, every at bat, he's been so automatic. And he stepped up, and I immediately thought of Sal Licata, Mets fans, who was telling him to swing and not look to draw walks. So thank you, Sal, for reminding him that he's also a generational bat. But no, this Giants series was just similar to the Padres series. They just kind of stomped them.
Yeah, it was a fun watch. Just because, look, I knew I said it, I think last week. I was like, Logan Webb is a contact pitcher, and contact pitcher against a Yankees lineup that is dominating pitch. Obviously, you could have a very, very good pitcher out there right now, and they're going to be scared of the Yankees lineup. So you have a contact pitcher who's very good going up against the Yankees lineup, and that's something that's completely different. And I knew that one was going to be a pretty good start. You hate to see Blake Snell get hurt. I feel bad for him. That was a tough one. And just in terms of being a baseball fan, you don't want to see the best players in the game get hurt. It's not good for the brand. But look at Trevi go, right? He was like the little engine that could on. He really is the Yankees' little engine that could. That's the best way to describe him. There's no other way. He's always in the moments of triumph for the Yankees. He's always a part of it. Clutch is now a stat, and I don't know where to find it, but he's got to be in like up there. He knows how to put the ball in play, like when it's needed most. But the whole series looked good. The only concern that I have is the depth of the bullpen a little bit, just because the lefties out of the pen seem to struggle a little bit more than the righties. The righties do. Victor Gonzalez and more so Dennis Santana have been issues for the team. It just the way it is. Sometimes, I mean, look, teams aren't going to be flawless. You can't sit here and even though the Yankees have been darn near perfect so far this season, you can nitpick a little bit, but I think they'll swing it around. All the relievers go through like a little bit of a hard time, and maybe the lefties are just kind of going through it right now. But other than that, I got no complaints, man. Life is good.
No, life is good for us. Dennis Santana, he's the whipping boy, and what I mean by that is every staff needs a pitcher that you can send out there and just get slapped around. That's Dennis Santana.
Should be Michael Tonkin.
He's been actually pretty good.
I know. I feel like the more I hate on him, the better he gets. It's like he gets stronger by my hate.
The Caroline effect. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Caroline taught me that one. So, like, I'm just going to keep hating on him.
My hate still fuels Tommy Pham. It couldn't help Wendell, though.
He's a dog.
Well, just remember, he fights in the off season for a reason. So,
but yeah, we beat the Giants. That was great. But it was nice to still own Minnesota. As of right now, it's 7-5, commercial break. But it's looking like, God willing, the Yankees pull this one out, and they'll be on a 6-game heater heading into their matchup with the Dodgers. But, Car, Austin, did you guys catch any of these games? You have any thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think that, I mean, I gave them a loss like in this just because shit can happen. It didn't. So I mean, I watched the Soto game where he hit that, the 2 tanks. I mean, at this point, like we just talked about how the NL is bad. The Giants seemed like they had no shot really. Like they had the lead in that game, but Duvall is pretty wild. He throws really hard. Facing a Yankees lineup that is generally like pretty patient. I mean, you just know that Soto is just going to sit on one pitch and drill it if he got it, or either walk and then Judge is on deck. So it's like pick your poison there. I mean, the Yankees are pretty much. I mean, at least in my opinion, they're the best team in baseball right now. I know the Phillies are like neck and neck for the record, but I think that the Yankees are better, to be honest with you. And that's all I got to say about that.
I agree.
Joe likes hearing that because his other team is the Phillies, so you just made his 90. If you want my opinion about the Yankees,
that'd be nice.
They're winners. That's great. I'm so happy for you.
Are you though? That feels like a backhanded compliment.
I do have a question though. Are you nervous about being on you said 6-game winning streak going into this Dodgers series?
No.
Because
personally, not really. And the reason I say that is because, look, at some point, the Yankees are going to lose a series, right? Like, I don't care if we lose a series in June to the Dodgers. Like, I don't, to be quite honest with you. Like, the Yankees are playing very good baseball right now. They can play very good baseball against whoever they want to play it against. And at the end of the day, reality, I just want them to win in September, October. So, I mean, do I love watching it right now? Yeah, but like you're going to lose series and you got to kind of be okay with losing them every once in a while, even though as fans, you don't want to accept it, but it does happen. So I'm not like sitting here. I don't want to make a June series out to be more than it is.
the reason why I ask it is, the Mets went into their Dodger series, one playing really bad baseball, but also playing the Dodgers when they were on a 5-game losing streak. So I chalked that Dodgers Mets series to, they're going to come out swinging because the Dodgers aren't going to lose more than 5. And we constantly talk about, keeping a winning streak like that is so hard. And I know the Dodgers aren't playing super hot. I mean, right now they're kicking butt, but they're playing the Pirates. Does that really count? It's that give and take. Like, are the stars aligning where the Yankees are really, really hot and on track to have an L, while the Dodgers are on track to have a win? Like, what's happening there? I'm very interested to see. I was between two things. I was like, this could be the series that the Yankees drop, but I don't want to say that because the Yankees play really great baseball. So I had a hard time with that.
I'm not worried, like, personally, about the Yankees facing the Dodgers. I think that the Dodgers might be like one of the top dogs in the NL, but I mean, I think in my prediction, I have the Yankees winning 2 out of 3. I think there's a pretty decent chance they sweep. I don't think the Dodgers have the pitching to deal with the Yankees, and the Yankees do have the pitching. So, I mean, that's just my thoughts on that. Yeah.
No, that's great. I'm worried about the starters. We have little Cody Poteet pitching on Friday against Yoshinobu Yamamoto. That matchup, I want the Yankees to hammer Yamamoto. I've been very tempted to just get tickets and go, but they get more and more expensive every minute. Like, these tickets are going to be crazy. But I'm worried about that game just because, yeah, like you said, the Yankees are on a heater and the Dodgers are on a pretty cold streak. So that would happen. It's giving me the same feeling. This is an important series for me. And I know, it's June, but in 2022, the Yankees came out hot. We all know they came out hot. And then that series against Houston at home in June kind of was the beginning of the end of the fun. And I'm getting the same feeling with this series. But like I said, Cody Poteet versus Yamamoto on Friday. Saturday is Nestor versus, I don't know, somebody.
Do we face the Greek god Tyler Glasnow?
No? We do.
I don't think so.
Sunday.
I think we missed. Oh, we do see him Sunday.
We get Heel. Yeah. So the Sunday game I'm most excited for because that's Luis Heel versus former Tampa Bay Ray Tyler Glasnow. This is an important series. Yankees got to win, but I'm a little worried about the first 2 games, and I'll talk about that in my prediction later. But moving forward, it's everybody's favorite segment. Love it or hate it. For those of you that don't know, it's pretty self-explanatory. We pick a topic that we love, and we pick a topic that we hate from the last 7 days. Austin, would you like to do us the honors and lead off?
Yeah, sure. My love it is Mark Vientos, who we mentioned earlier. He's looked fantastic. I mean, obviously he's like red hot right now. I expect, he'll level off at some point. But he certainly looks like a productive bat now. And I think if he can like settle in to just be an above average bat, he doesn't have to be a colossus, then that'd be great. I also love I'm calling it an advantage for the Mets, the London series, because they get 3 days off. And those 3 days off are pretty huge for a bullpen that is extremely overused at this point. Like guys that are in there every day, like I think Ottavino won't have pitched for like 4 days at the first game of the series. Reed Garrett will have 3 days off. So the bullpen will be well rested, and I don't think that's ever, like, maybe this entire season, aside from like the opening series, that's like really occurred. So that's what I'm loving, and what I'm hating is the idea. It's really being like spread by like WFAN and stuff like that about the trade deadline. It's really irritating to hear. It's way too early for any of that. We have no idea where the Mets are going to be, like injury wise, or any of that, or whether how the market will really take shape with all these teams kind of just like on the cusp of the wild card. So it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me to talk about it now. Like, is Pete Alonso going to get traded? I mean, I don't care right now. Like, the Mets either have to win or they'll lose, and that's it.
No, I definitely agree. Early trade talks have to be incredibly frustrating, especially when your team's involved. That Pete Alonso tweet, if we're referring to the same rumor about him maybe getting dealt by rival GMs,
Yeah.
that was annoying to read, and I'm not even a Mets fan, so thankfully the Yankees aren't in that position right now. But the way too early trade talks are always frustrating. Normally the Yankees are on the other side of that, though.
Yeah.
My favorite thing about that tweet is the rival GM's part. No way the people outside looking in who would like that piece are saying, yeah, I could totally see us getting him. That would be really cool. Okay, you're not David Stearns. I don't care. I did want to add on to the Mark Vientos thing.
Okay, go ahead.
We all want to talk about his bat. He made that great play at third base. Was it yesterday? Where I was like, all right, Mark, that work with Lindor is really panning out. And I'm sure that, Beatty hitting homers in the minors is going to keep lighting a fire under Mark's butt to keep working hard. And, it's nice to see someone work out who is passionate. And I want to say thank you to Bryce Harper for giving him some advice on his swing.
Bryce Harper, friend of the show.
Yeah.
But my love it and hate it. My love it is something I actually saw on Twitter today, and it was Martinez and his accountability drill for our offense. He made the claim of you're going to talk about your approach, what you're going to change about your approach, and then if you don't execute the change, you have to tell me why. I think last week we're talking about buzzwords like accountability. This is an actual example of accountability.
Yes.
Because it's not only, hey, you were bad up there. It's, hey, we were trying to fix it. Why didn't you do the thing you were going to fix? What were you thinking up there? And so it's reflective. It makes meaning of what they're doing up there. They're not just swinging like crazy people. They're actually being accountable and making the changes they need to make. And I think that you could see that change in them. And I think that's really great. And I think as a teacher, it's really nice to see someone do that reflective work. And I think that if Martinez ever wants to go into coaching, I think he'd probably be a really solid guy for young baseball players. It just warmed my heart to read that. And my hate it is a bullpen who forgets what closing is. Because I don't like clenching my butt cheeks every ninth inning, hoping that we hold on to a win. I've watched for however many hours. I'd like to go home happy. And they're gassed, so I understand that. But I do hate a bullpen who, in the ninth inning, poops their pants.
Nobody likes a poopy pants bullpen.
No, that's definitely not the goal. Is you want to get to those later innings and not have a cardiac event, if you get what I'm saying. No pun intended, Joe. But no, my love it and hate it. So my love it's simply baseball. I love coming home every day from work and whatever I'm doing, knowing that I get to watch one of my favorite sports, my favorite sport on TV, and watch a team that I love to watch play well. It's just, it's all good vibes. And, a lot of times, it's sometimes after a really hard day, you absolutely need that little uplifting thing. And, the uplifting thing being your favorite team is really nice. And my hate it is the people on Twitter that love to try to find something that they don't, that the reason the Yankees are about to fall apart. It's like, just enjoy the freaking moment. Like, you don't know what's going to happen next week with the team. You hope they're going to play amazing. People, enjoy the moment. The team's playing well. Everyone's clicking right now. So many times in sports we get lost in and what's going to happen if this, and this. And it's like, you'll look back in a couple years if the Yankees aren't playing well and are having a down year and say, man, remember how fun 2024 was? But you didn't enjoy the moment when it was there. Just enjoy the game as it is right now, because it is so fun to watch on a night-to-night basis.
No, it's been appointment television. I definitely agree with that. I always like to say, life's just a little better when your sports teams win. Could be that night. It could be, for baseball, hockey, whatever. It could be that week for football. But your life is just made a little bit better when your sports teams are going well. And it's the part at least I tend to think about a lot. Things could be bad, but okay, my team won. We're good. The hate it. Well, actually, you're hate it quickly. I call those people doom merchants. They just love to feed off the negativity. And if you're on Twitter a lot, there's a lot of people that can drum up a lot of nonsense just by something bad happening. It's lame, but what are you gonna do? Okay. My love it. I'm cheating a little bit. I have 2 love it's and 2 hate it, so bear with me. My love it is Aaron Judge and Juan Soto. So let's look at the numbers the last 7 games. And this isn't including tonight, but this is before I wrote this up. Last 7 games, Juan Soto, 391 batting average, 531 OBP, 826 slugging, paired with 2 home runs and 7 RBIs. That's great. You'd expect that out of anybody. Or you'd love that out of anybody. Not even expect it. Love it. Aaron Judge.
I don't expect that out of anybody.
Aaron Judge. We ready for this? You think Soto's doing good? Listen to Judge. 417, 548, 1.042 with 4 home runs and 15 RBI. On another level, this is absolutely insane, and I'm loving it. It's the Shaq and Kobe meme you see on Twitter. My first hate it is Twitter GMs. Now, we're all guilty of it. Everybody likes to play armchair quarterback the next day. Everybody likes to play Twitter GM. But this past offseason, I desperately wanted the Yankees to add either Jordan Montgomery or Blake Snell. Especially, I wanted Yamamoto. I wanted all the big names, typical Yankee fan. But when Cole went down, it was like, we got to add Monty or Snell. Here are their numbers this year. Blake Snell, 6 games, 23 2/3 innings pitched with an 0-3 record, a 9.51 ERA, and 31 Ks, and he's a 2-time IL participant. He's just back on the IL. We're not rooting for injuries. I'm not making fun of him, but for the money he commanded, not good. All right. Snell's whatever in between Cy Young years. Monty's always been solid. All right, let's look at Monty. 9 games, 46.1 innings pitched, a 3-3 record, a 6.80 ERA, 29 Ks, and was booed by his own fans in his last start. Now, there's a universe where the Yankees signed one of them and Luis Gil rots in AAA. All I have to say is I'm so happy I don't live in that universe, and I'm so happy I'm not a GM, because that would just be a disaster. What do you guys think about that one?
Well, the Yankees offered Snell a contract that he declined. It's probably a big mistake on his part. I mean, and who knows, as Michael Kay likes to say, it's the fallacy of a predetermined outcome. Maybe Snell performs well for the Yankees in the scenario which he signs with them. But, they've been awful. I feel bad for Montgomery. I don't know, if either of these guys will be able to, fix themselves in season, because it seems like, all kinds of things are wrong with them. So, but I mean, the Yankees are in good shape. Like, right now they're rolling with that number 5 starter who won't be there for very long. Garrett Cole's on his way back. And so, I mean, life is good for the Yankees rotation without either of those guys. So, yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
I think this is a great PSA for spring training, especially for pitchers. And I think that, and I know it's like probably not the case, but if I'm a Boris client, I'm looking at what's happening right now and, probably having a stronger hand in my negotiations for my future to ensure that I'm not just a commodity. I'm not going to hurt myself and I'm not going to be booed wherever I am just so a guy could have a fat check and that guy including myself. I know it's a business, but I think that there's I think it was pretty egregious what we allowed to happen to these two guys who coming out of 2023 they could have signed their own check with how they were performing. And then they come to these new teams and they can't even pitch anymore because they miss spring training. I think it's like a bigger league issue, not just a Joe the Yankee fan and Twitter GM.
Everyone is a victim of it. And let's be fair, in the moment, even before the season, we had questions about the Yankees rotation. We did not know that this was going to happen. We really did not. I mean, we were all sitting here we had the same amount of questions with the Yankees rotation that we did about the Mets rotation. So to say that, and I don't even know if people in the Yankees organization knew that the rotation could be as good as it's been. I mean, to say that you have a sub-3 ERA out of your pitching staff, who guesses that, right? Like, nobody really guesses it. I do agree that the Twitter GMs do get quite annoying because you hear some really dumb takes. And I don't want to say dumb takes because, Joey, you've been very excited about Jason Dominguez coming back. He's going to be in AAA. He's not going to be on the team. Because if you're not giving him regular reps, don't have him on the big team. And that's my argument. And like the whole thing is like with the team playing so well right now, don't ruffle any feathers. I just want the team to stay as a unit right now. And then, we have this ace in the hole if we need it per se.
Dope.
I'm so sorry, but I also think, a big conversation for Mets fans, and I think Yankee fans too, is, the whole let the kids play situation. Let the kids play, like look at all these guys that you already have and let that talent shine and give that talent a chance. And I think that's something to also consider. A lot of the answers to our problems could be found in our own farm system if we do it right. And I think we like to talk about these blockbuster signings and things like that. But sometimes it's in your own backyard, homegrown, and things like that. So I think as New York fans, we always want that big signing. Ooh, this is so exciting. We do. You said it yourself, right? And sometimes we just have to give the kids a chance.
My second hate it. This is going to ruffle some jimmies. But hear me out. There's a company called Pantone 294. Now, I don't know if it's Pantone 294. You're Pantone 294 to me right now. Hear me out. They are the equivalent of the 7 line, but for the Dodgers, at least to my understanding. Now, Joe, why does Pantone 294 matter? They're doing a march to Yankee Stadium this weekend. No.
All the way from LA? That's crazy.
Oh, my God. Yeah, no, it's just a long walk. They started about 3 weeks ago. All right, no, jokes aside. They do this apparently at every outing that they have, which is whack. Whack, whack, whack. But they had a post up on Instagram, and it went semi-viral on Twitter today. And I'm going to just break it down a little bit because this is some of the most misleading braggadocious, ridiculous stuff that I have read in a while, and I've been checking Twitter fairly regularly. They made it sound like they were going to have the entire street shut down strictly because the Dodgers were in town. I'm going to tell you right now, they do that when the White Sox, the 15-win White Sox are in town, when the shitty Reds come to town, when the ass Rockies come to town. They don't give a damn that the Dodgers are in town. That street is always shut down. Next, they're attempting to rally at Billy's. Now, for those of you that don't know, Billy's is a Yankee sports bar. It's a lot of fun. It's a pretty popular bar, famous if you're a Yankee fan and you go to a lot of games. It's always, let's go to Billy's, let's go to Stan's. But Billy's has the most capacity. We like Stan's. But this place, they're planning to rally there. Now, for those of you that don't know, Billy's is about 500 feet from Stan's. So this march that they've been hyping up is essentially them crossing the street at 6 p.m. for a 7:05 first pitch, only to get in like the third inning. But you know what? That's typical textbook Dodger fandom anyway. I noticed it when I was in LA. It's going to happen this time. But you know what? They're not allowed to have seats in the lower level. The Yankees squashed that. They're going to be up in the 400s, so nobody's going to care anyway. It's lame. Like,
They should be thankful they're not in the bleachers.
You know what aggravated me? When we were at Dodgers Mets for your birthday, Caroline, and the Dodger fans like took over. It was embarrassing. I was angry. Like, don't do that in the Bronx. Don't try that in the Bronx. That's not going to happen. Ridiculous.
The Yankee fans won't let them because the Yankees are winning.
And we're going to be there.
Well, they also show up. The Mets have a very bad attendance rate this year.
Yeah, I don't blame them. Why am I going to these games? I've sold a lot of tickets. I'm being so honest.
Go ahead. Sorry.
This is my third year as a season ticket holder. I have my boxes up there behind me. I've never sold a ticket until this year. Like,
so you started hanging out with me.
No, I hung out with you last year and I didn't sell tickets. They're bad. Why would I drive? You know, Yankee Stadium for the majority of people on this planet is infinitely easier to get to than the island of Queens, with the exception of Long Islanders.
And
it's hard to get to.
Just to put a number on it, the Mets are down 25% in.
Yeah, good. Truthfully, now I'm going to go on a rant. Good. They should be, because the product you're putting on the field is ass. You perform and they will show up.
So now it's everybody's favorite, besides love it or hate it. It's our predictions. So we'll do the Mets first, as always, and the order will go Austin, Caroline, Matt, Joey. You know, same standard lineup, but the Mets, we're going to do them first, like I said, but they're a lot of fun. You get 2 games in London versus the Phillies. That's going to be pretty cool. I know timing is probably going to stink because of the London time difference, but we got 2 games in London versus the Phils and 3 games at City versus the Marlins. So, Austin, I know we were really confident last week. What was it? Hope for the best.
Yes. So, yeah. So this one I'm less confident in. The Marlins they're always doing like Marlins things. I'm going to say 3-2. I think that, you know, maybe the Mets win a game against the Phillies and take 2 out of 3 from the Marlins. I mean, the Mets could also get swept by the Phillies and then, you know, sweep the Marlins. It's this one is a lot trickier. I felt very precise with the last one. I think this one could go like so many different kinds of ways. So 3-2, that's what I got.
Okay.
Yeah. I also said I think there will be a split. I think Mets lose the game with Ranger pitching, and honestly, Sunday's up in the air between Taijuan Walker and Quintana. Might just be a home run derby instead of a baseball game.
Sounds like a mid-off, as the kids say.
It is a mid-off. It is, but I do love Ty Walker, so I can't hate him too I think we're going to take 2 from the Marlins, but like Austin said, the Marlins can do Marlin things. So you never know. But I said 1 from Philly and 2 from Marlins.
I'm right there too. That's exactly what I thought. London series are always very weird. So yeah, no, I predicted the same exact as you both. Good brain trust going on today, guys.
So naturally, I have to be different, and I've been fairly positive about the Mets every single week. I really don't think I've picked them. I mean, someone can check, but I haven't gone under 500 with the Mets, at least for the last 2 weeks. But I'm going to say they go 2-3 on these games. I think they split with Philly. I think it's going to be really entertaining. Not saying it's going to be Yankees Red Sox in London in 2019 where they put up football scores, but I think we're going to get some really good games. The Mets always play the Phils tough, and I'm going to say they come home and go 1-3 versus Miami. But general consensus, I agree. The Marlins could do Marlins things, but the Marlins could also do Marlins things where it's, they can go either way with that.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll kick it over to the boys in the Bronx. Big series coming up. Yankees Dodgers. We've been talking about it. Everybody's been talking about it. It's going to be prime time. It's probably the best series of the year, at least on paper and in terms of marketing. But we got 3 games against the Dodgers. We talked about who was pitching earlier. And then after that, they go out to Kauffman in Kansas City to face the Royals. So, again, Austin, lead us off. What are we thinking?
I think the Yankees go 4-2. I think they take 2 out of 3 from the Dodgers. I think they take 2 out of 3 from the Royals. The Royals are a lot better than they have been past couple of years. They've got some. I'm not sure if the Yankees are facing Seth Lugo in the series. He's having a fantastic year. Peripherals don't really support it too much. But I mean, at this point in his career, he's throwing 9 different pitches. He seems to be mixing it really well. So maybe he's able to outpitch the Yankees offense, which not many teams are able to do. Like I said earlier, I don't really view the Dodgers as a huge threat to the Yankees. Maybe they'll win the first game, Yamamoto versus Petit. I mean, but who knows? But yeah, 4-2.
Nice. Kara?
Austin, could you imagine if we had a starter named Seth Lugo? That would have been crazy. I went back and forth with the Dodgers series. I don't think the Dodgers sweep the Yankees, but I was between 1 or 2 wins, just because of that tricky Yankees are going high, Dodgers are low, the universe, blah, blah, blah. But I said that the Yankees take 2 out of 3 from the Dodgers, and I said that they sweep the Royals for only 1 loss for the next week.
So I agree with your guys' sentiments, but we'll let Matt talk in a second. I looked at the probables for the Kansas City Royals, and it looks like Seth Lugo, there's a very good chance he pitches because they have Daniel Lynch, the 4th pitching tomorrow, Alec Marsh, and Cole Reagan's going against Seattle. So we're looking like Lugo's going to get his shot. Mets legend Seth Lugo.
Yes.
See, I'm with Austin. I think 4-2 is realistic for the Yankees. The pace of keeping up the 5-1s or the 6-0s, depending on if the rain delay ends or if it doesn't and the Yankees win that way. But I think it's they got to lose a couple games, right? That's just kind of the way I think about it right now. I mean, if they want to go 5-1, 6-0, keep doing it. But I think 4-2 is probably the most realistic.
So I agree. I think 4-2 is most likely what's going to happen. However, as I mentioned, I am worried about the Dodgers. I know everybody else isn't, but my paranoia is kicking in a little bit. They're a really good team. And, Otani's guaranteed to at least go deep once. It's tough. Is what I would say if I wasn't rooting for the New York Yankees. I think we go in. I don't want to say a sweep because if we lose this series, I'm going to feel awful. But we're sweeping them. I don't care. Little Bo Peep, Cody Poteet, don't matter. Yanks in 3, sweep. The Royals, are they even good anymore? Bobby Witt Jr. seems to just be doing everything. He's like LeBron in 2007. And I know Seth Lugo's good and their pitching's good, but just in terms of offense, it feels like Bobby Witt Jr. is just carrying. So maybe they skunk a game and take one. I'm saying 5-1. Let's ride though. I want a fun weekend. I want to get jacked up.
Okay.
To our 12 listeners, pray for me.
Hell yeah, especially
We're
on
going to
Saturday.
double it this week.
Saturday is going to be a war. And that's when they're marching in. But we have one more thing to talk about. And Austin, please, buddy, take it away.
All right. So I'm going to be joining you guys with a podcast of my own. I do have a co-host lined up. Me and Emily Nyman are going to be teaming up. We're going to cover mostly Mets, but we're also going to cover like baseball. We're going to try and get some like former players on. We're going to get some like prospect guys. We're just going to try and cover the entirety of the broad spectrum. So that's the big news.
Woo! Oh, God, we're all doing this. No, it's very exciting. I'm excited that you're coming on. We loved having you last week. We had a great time with you this week. Just excited you're joining the team, and we love Emily Nyman too. She's the best. She's always right, and you don't mess with her. Those are the two things that I learned very fast.
She'll love to hear that.
I'm sure she will. We'll clip it and send it to her.
Yeah.
But shout out Emily Nyman. Welcome aboard, guys. This is dope. We're so hyped, honestly, to have you guys aboard. But outside of that, is there anything else we want to cover before we get off?
No, I think
Yeah.
Yeah.
Austin?
Yeah, go Yanks. Pray for the Mets, and yeah.
The vibes are high. What a way to end it.
If I could do a British accent, I'd say let's go Mets in that, but I can't, so let's go Mets.
I'm not going to even attempt it. Yeah.
No, I'm not very good at accents anymore. But and yeah, no, not in this state. But that's going to do it for us here at the Battle in New York this week. Rich comes back next week, hopefully. Rich, we know you're listening. We miss you. We love you. We'll see you soon. Austin, you crushed it again. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for joining the team. We're hyped.
Follow Crosstown Sports Network to be the first to hear Austin and Emily on their new podcast and all new updates for that as well.
Yes, please follow us on
Austin's
Twitter.
2 for 2, batting 1,000.
Thanks.
No, but yeah, please follow us on Twitter, Crosstown Sports Network. Please follow us on YouTube, Crosstown Sports Network. Please follow all of us. Please follow Austin's new show. Again, super excited. But that's going to wrap it up this week for Battle in New York. Thank you guys so much for listening. We'll see you next week.